Hey there, my name is Kelly Dale with Off the Beaded Path. I hope you enjoyed last week's video on the tubular peyote stitch bangle bracelet. It was a really cool project, and today we're going to keep delving right on into some more peyote stitch, where I'm going to show you how to do a peyote stitch toggle. Now the cool thing about this toggle is that it takes very few beads. Literally, you need 127 size 15 seed beads, 24 size 11 seed beads, one capful, and when I say capful, I mean like a tube capful of a size 11 Delicas, and 2 4mm bicones. That's all you actually need for the toggle itself. Other than that, you're going to need 2 yards of a 6 or 8 pound fire line and a needle. Now, the cool thing about this project is we're going to learn how to make the circle part of the toggle and the bar part of the toggle today. And then next week, I'm going to be showing you a project where we'll actually be using the toggle we made this week for the project next week. So it's kind of a two-parter. But I hope that you guys learn how to do these toggles and you just go crazy with them, because literally they're a great way. Number one, if somebody is allergic to metals, that you can be able to use a non-metallic toggle or clasp for their jewelry. And number two, it's a great way to use exactly the same color beads that you did in a project. So you're not having these really beautiful, say you have coppers and bronzes and golds in a project, but you don't necessarily have a cool toggle you think would go with it. This is a great way to be able to do that. So go ahead and get your bead mat ready and we'll get started. When you're ready to begin, the first thing you'll want to do is thread on 42 size 15 seed beads and tie them into a circle. Again, you want 42 size 15 seed beads, and you're going to tie those into a circle. And once you get them tied, then take your needle and you want to go through the 15 right next to the knot here. And something that will help you out tremendously is if you have an empty tube left over from your beading, you can take and actually put your ring of beads onto the tube, because that'll help you be able to keep this flat and see it a little better. The big thing about this is you want a constant tension. You don't want a tight tension, because you'll have problems if further throughout the project. So you just want kind of a slack tension, I guess I should say. But I'm coming out of this 15 right here. I'm going to pick up 115. I'm going to skip 115, and I'm going to go through the next one. This is going to be basic peyote stitch here, so that when you pull, the bead pops on top of each other exactly like it needs to. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to pick up 115. I'm coming out of a 15. I'm going to skip a 15. And I'm going to go through the next 15. And they'll lay kind of wonky right now, but that's completely okay. They'll straighten up, I promise. Pick up a 15. Skip a 15 and go through the next 15. And you're going to continue to do this around the circle, picking up a 15, skipping a 15, and going through the next 15. Once you've done this around the circle, you will have picked up 21 size 15 seed beads, and it may help you to make you a little stack of 21 beads, so you'll know when you get back around. Once you finish the round, this is what your piece should look like. I've added the last bead here and come through the last bead on the row. So what that means is it's time to do a step up. And a step up just means that if this is the last bead on the row, I have to step up through the first bead that I added on the next row, which is this bead right here. At this point, you're ready to start your next row. which is going to be 111 Delica. So you're going to pick up a Delica and you're going to go through the next 15 that's sticking up. And you're going to do this all the way around, picking up one Delica, going through the next 15 that's sticking up. One Delica, go through the next 15 that's sticking up. And you want to do this all the way till you get back to this first Delica again. Once you've gone all the way around, this is what your piece should look like. When you get back to the beginning, you'll see that you're coming out of a 15. If we were going to do the step up, we would step up through the first Delica that we added and we would continue going. But you don't want to do that yet. We're going to stitch to come up through an up bead on the other side. So what an up bead is any one of these 15s here that are sticking up on the other side. So basically, I'm coming out of this 15, so I'm going to go through two 15s diagonal so that I'm coming out of an up 15. This is an up 15, this is lower 15. You want to be coming out of the up 15. You're going to do exactly like we did on this row. You're going to pick up one Delica and go through the next bead that's sticking up. And you're going to do this all the way around, picking up a Delica and going through the next 15 that's sticking up. And just do that all the way around. Once you are back around to the other side, your piece will look like this. Now, as you can see, the beads on this side aren't laying down as good as these, but that's okay because they're all going to be folded up anyways. Once you get back to the last 15, you want to step up by going through the Delica, that first Delica that you added. And then you're ready for another row of Delicas. So you're going to pick up a Delica and go through a Delica sticking up. You're going to do this all the way around, just picking up a Delica and going through the next Delica sticking up. And your beads will start to kind of lay just like this, kind of laying up, and that's what you want them to do. So it's completely fine if they start doing that. But you'll go all the way around, picking up a Delica and going through the next Delica that is sticking up. Now that you've gone all the way around, this is what your piece should look like at this point. I'm coming out of the last Delica here, and I'm going to stitch through my 15s so that I exit an up Delica on this other side. Now you're going to do a row of Delicas just like we did over here. You're going to pick up a Delica and go through a Delica sticking up. Pick up a Delica, go through a Delica that's sticking up. Okay, so go all the way around, adding another row of Delicas on the side. I've taken this off of the tube, and now that you see when I've gone all the way around, both sides look identical. I'm coming out of the last Delica on the row, and I want to step up by going through the first Delica that I added on this current row. This row, this time, we're going to pick up a regular size 11 seed bead. Okay, this is a regular 11, and you're going to go through the next Delica sticking up. So again, you want to pick up an 11, regular 11, and go through the next Delica, and you're going to do this all the way around, just picking up your 11 and going through the next Delica. Once you've gone around with the regular size 11 seed beads, this is what your piece will look like. I've already stepped up through the first 11 that I added, and now you're ready to zip the tube up. So you can see we already have zipper teeth that are zigzag. So I'm coming out of an 11, and I'm going to come over to this left side, and I'm going to go through the very next Delica that's sticking up. I'm going to go to the right side, and I'm going to go through the size 11 seed bead. Now go to the left side and go through the next Delica. Go to the right side, go through the next 11. The great thing about this toggle pattern, doing it this way, is that you'll know that on the left side you'll always be going through a Delica, and on the right side you'll always be going through a size 11 seed bead. It helps to make the pattern a little bit easier to see how to do, and so that's the really good thing about this project. But you want to continue going from right to left and left to right, attaching and zipping up the circle. Now that you have the whole thing connected, this is what it should look like. I'm coming out of the first 11 that I started with on this row, and I'm going to pick up one 11 and I'm going to go through the next 11, very next one. Now this one little bead right here is going to be where we attach the bracelet or necklace or whatever project that you want to do, and I'll show you how to attach it next week, but this one bead is all you need for that attachment. Now you want to stitch around and tie this thread off, and don't get rid of the thread that's on your needle because you'll be able to use it to do the toggle bar. The next phase in the toggle set is the toggle bar. To make the toggle bar, we're mainly going to be using the Delicas first, and I've got my needle still threaded with the thread left over from my toggle ring. And the first thing I've done is I've threaded on one Delica because this bead is going to be my stop bead, but it's also going to be bead number 1 of the first row of beads. So I'm going to continue picking up Delicas, and I want to pick up 13 more. So once you've got the 13 plus your stop bead, that's 14 beads. And at this point, you're going to do flat peyote stitch. So you're going to pick up one Delica, you're going to skip the very last Delica added, and working back towards the tail, you're going to go through the next Delica. You want to make sure those beads sit on top of each other. Now pick up a Delica. You're coming out of a Delica. You're going to skip a Delica and go through the next Delica. Pick up a Delica, skip a Delica, and go through the next Delica. And you're going to do this all the way down, picking up a Delica, skipping one, and going through one. And they're just going to stack right on top of each other. So now that you've got that row finished, this is what it will look like. And we're going to work back down the other direction. So I'm going to pick up a Delica, and I'm going to go through the first Delica sticking up, which is going to be the very last bead that I actually put on. And then pick up a Delica, go through the next bead sticking up. You're going to do this all the way down, picking up one Delica and going through the next Delica that's sticking up. And you'll continue working in the peyote stitch just like we're doing here until you have 6 beads along this left edge and 6 beads along the right edge. Once you finish the strip of peyote, this is what your strip will look like. You'll have 6 beads along the top and 6 beads along the bottom. Now we're ready to fold the piece together and do what we call the zip up with peyote stitch. So I'm coming out of the bottom right Delica. So I'm going to jump over here to the left, and I'm going to go to the left Delica that's sticking up. Then I'm going to come back over to the right side, and I'm going to come through the next Delica sticking up on the right. I'm going to go to the left and go through the Delica sticking up on the left. This is just like we did on the toggle ring. It's just that now we've got all the same bead instead of a different bead on each side. So it's a little bit harder to see your zip, but it's just like teeth on a zipper. That's what you have to kind of keep telling yourself and remembering. You're just jumping from side to side, going through and connecting this. So when you get back to the very top, you're going to take your needle and you're going to pull the thread out from around the stop bead. I'm coming out of the bead here on the right, so I'm going to go down through the bead on the left. And then right back up through the same bead that I was just coming out of. And that finishes out the connection of the toggle. Now I'm ready to add the embellishments along the outer edge. So I'm using my 15s. I'm going to pick up 5 of the 15s. I'm going to let those drop. I'm going to go back down through the first 15 that I added and the Delica that's right under it. And pull that through. And then I'm going to come up through the next Delica. I'm going to do that process again. 5 15s. And you let those drop. You go through the first Delica, or the first 15 you added, and then the Delica right under it. And then up through the next Delica. And you're going to do this 1, 2, 3, 4 more times so that you'll have a total of 6 of the embellishments here along the top. Once you've gone around, this is what your piece will look like. It's just a big jumble of beads right now. I've come back down through the last Delica here, and now I'm going to take the needle, and right where that thread is coming out, I'm just going to stick the needle through the Delica wall and then up through the center of the piece. And once you've got the thread pulled through, you'll be coming right out of the center just like this, and we're ready to pick up our 4mm. Now you can use a bicone or a round bead, and a regular size 11 seed bead. And I'm going to let those drop down. And you're going to skip the 11 and go through the 4mm and then straight through the tube to come out on the other side. So that when you pull, it pulls your bead in there I like using a bicone a lot better because the bicone actually sticks out a little bit more. Now once you're here to the end, stick your needle through the Delica wall. And then go up through the Delica right where your thread is exiting. And you're going to do the same embellishment technique on this side of the toggle bar. So I have the embellishments done on this side, and I have the 4mm and the size 11 seed bead added. When you get ready to do this side, you're going to take the needle and go back down through your crystal, and then go through the tube and through the 4mm and the 11 on the other side of the bar, so that now both of your pieces are in place. Go skip the 11, go back down through the crystal, and when you go back down through the crystal this time, go through the wall, the Delica wall, through a Delica, and then you want to tie your tail and your working thread together. Like, we want to go ahead and get rid, well, there we go. We want to go ahead and get rid of that tail. So you just take the two pieces, tie them together, which I did a horrible job of there. Let's see if we can fix that. Here we go. So I've got that tied off. And now once that is tied off, you're ready to stitch through your beads to come out of the center. Try and get as close to the center as you can. So I'm probably going to come out right here. So I'll just stitch through my beads to come out of this Delica right here. So I stitched to the bead that I showed you I was going to come out of. And while I was at it, I put a needle onto the tail thread and stitched it through and cut it off. So that one's finished. So now that you're coming out of this bead, we need to make a little loop so that we can attach the toggle to a project. So to do that, I'm going to pick up 2 15s, an 11 Delica, and 2 15s. And then go back through the Delica that you're coming out of so that it makes a circle. And then you'll reinforce this little loop several times and then tie the thread
So I
off.
hope you guys enjoyed learning how to make the beaded toggles. Like I said, this toggle is a great way to be able to really customize your jewelry findings from now on. Be sure and come back next week when we're going to do a project where I'll actually show you how to connect the toggle and use it in a project. We don't have kits this week for the toggles because it uses very little beads, but we do have the pattern for sale on our website, which is offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com, in case you need that to follow along with. I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.